proper posture for your left hand on the violin. So I'm going to go ahead and put my violin in the correct position. So I find the knob here, turn to the left, put it on my shoulder, put my jaw on the jaw rest, not my chin, right? We're not turning our head like that. We're still looking straight ahead and just putting our jaw there. All right, so with our left hand, we are going to move it back here so that our first finger is going to sit on the first tape, if you have tapes on the violin. For beginners, I would recommend having tapes just to get started. So a very common mistake that I see with beginners is that they like to rest the neck of the violin on their palm here. So I call this a pancake wrist or a waitress wrist. This makes it really, really difficult for your fingers to move in the right spots. So we're going to go ahead and straighten our wrist, just like that. Okay, so this is a nice, not like fully straight, but there's no kinks or bends in this line here. All right, so for finger shape, I'm going to bring my violin up here so you can see. Our left hand holds the neck like this, so between the thumb and the index finger. Now, we want to make sure, and I'm just going to use a pen here. The violin, you want to line up the top of the fingerboard with this joint on your left index finger. So I'm going to just turn around this way so that you can see I'm lining myself up here. All right. Sorry, this crease. Right with the top of the fingerboard. Okay, so what that does then with our thumb is there for balance. We're not ever going to squeeze, because again, that makes it really, really hard to put your fingers down with any kind of speed or accuracy. So now that we have this, we want to make sure we have a window under the neck. So we don't want the violin resting here in the crook. We want to make sure our hand is down here so you have that window. All right, now you'll notice when you put your first finger on the tape, what kind of shape do you see here? So that we want these boxy or square shaped fingers. So every finger that you put down is going to have this nice flat knuckle on the top here. These boxy fingers. All right, with our tapes, I usually start with 3, maybe 4. I have 4 on my violin, just for example. When you first start, everything you're going to play is in the key of A or D major, and it's going to be mostly up here on the A and E string. So with that, our fingers will always be on the tapes. So, and we never want to have fingers that collapse like this, because that's going to mess with the actual pitch that we're playing. So again, really concentrate on getting these boxy shapes and feeling the neck of the violin in here. Remember the top mark, that's the one you want to line up with the top of the black of the fingerboard. And we're not squeezing. What I'd like you to do is try to rub the side of the neck of the violin with your thumb. And tap your fingers, second finger, and also keep rubbing that thumb because we want to make sure that it's not getting stuck and squeezing. Okay, and again, make sure your wrist, you have a nice smooth straight line here. We don't want a crazy bent wrist like that, and we definitely don't want a collapsed wrist. And this is common because you think that you need to support the violin with your left hand, but as I said in my previous video, really this is all your head. The weight of your head is what's supporting the violin, and you're not pressing. That's the biggest thing we need to know about the violin, is if you feel like you're working really hard, if you're experiencing any pain, it's normally because you really are working too hard. So we want to make sure everything is as relaxed and smooth as possible. So no squeezing, right? We're not lifting anything weird. It should not look or feel painful. All right, and some exercises we can do to make sure that everything in here is staying unlocked and with no tension. With your hand in the correct position here, so again, make sure that the tips of your finger is right here on the first tape. You can swing here, again, don't let anything lock up. You can move like this. I like to hold on here just for a little extra support. You can just practice this if you want to hold your hands under to make sure it doesn't fall, if you're insecure about that. Yeah, just a few of these things to make sure that nothing is locking up, nothing is tense. Again, tapping your thumb, making sure you're not squeezing the neck, all that kind of stuff. Awesome. So that is how you, that's the proper posture of your left hand and finger shapes.